Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hello, and welcome to episode 45 of Total Retail Talks. I'm Joe Keenan, Executive Editor of Total Retail. Today I'm joined by Paul Carroll, Vice President of Digital and E-commerce Creative at New York & Company, a retailer of women's wear-to-work clothes and accessories. We're going to be discussing how New York & Company is using creative design to better engage visitors to its e-commerce site. Thanks for joining me, Paul.
A pleasure to be on today.
So let's talk about that first around visitor engagement on your website. What is New York & Company doing to increase the number of pages viewed and the amount of time that shoppers are spending on the company's website?
Right. So we're making really concerted efforts to up the quality of the content, both mobile and desktop content, and really increasing its exposure then on, obviously, our homepage and in our sort of aggressive email cadence, where we will frequently promote that new content. For example, this past spring, we print a catalog. It's called The City. It's a 24-page fashion catalog, and we mail about 2 million copies to our customers. But we have to create. I'm responsible for creating a digital version of that experience or of the catalog on the site. And we had a learning this past spring where obviously the catalog gets in home over a course of maybe 5 to 6 days. But our CEO wanted the experience to go up on the site ahead of that. So we quickly created just a category thumbnail page. We designed a header. We created a thumbnail page of all the styles that were going to be featured in the book. So any customers, obviously, who got the catalog early, they could go online and shop the styles. But in addition, I was using Creator from Zmags, which allows me to create a much more rich experience for the user. And we had the two shopping experiences up side by side. So depending on where the customer clicked on the homepage, she was brought to one or the other. And the interesting thing that we learned was the amount of time the user stayed on the site and the conversion while they were in the rich Zmags creator content, which visually was basically a page turner, page slider experience with great animation, just a much richer experience for the shopper versus just clicking on product thumbnails on a grid of an apparel category, for example.
Yeah, so you were successful in sort of creating that catalog feel online, I guess.
Yeah. So even though it looked very similar to the printed piece, but there was the added interaction of animation. Obviously, she could click on different looks, get more information. There was video in the mix. And so the conversion from that experience versus just that grid of, and they were the thumbnails that we put up on the site on our traditional sort of category listing page. We used the exact same brand imagery that was in the catalog, but the Zmags experience was just that much richer that the engagement was 7 to 11 minutes longer than on the category listing pages, which was just interesting for us.
Yeah, and I guess online with that Zmags tool, then, compared to the catalog, you're able to provide multiple angles and different, images, and so I guess you can do a lot more, and then video. So some of the added content features that you can bring online, it might not be available to someone looking at a catalog.
Exactly, and we're doing it, and we're not just talking desktop here. Obviously, talking mobile. So we customize the design of the catalog, the digital catalog. We customize it to be mobile friendly, and obviously we do a desktop version as well. So it's not responsive design. We're designing for two different experiences, but optimizing for both.
That's a perfect segue to my next question, Paul, is how does New York and Company account for the context in which someone is visiting a site? Is, someone coming from their smartphone versus somebody coming on their laptop or a tablet? Can you talk about, and then that experience that you're serving up to them? Can you talk about that from New York and Company's perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think these numbers are anything groundbreaking or new, but for the last, I would say, the last solid 12 months, we've seen a major sort of uptick in mobile traffic versus desktop, and we regularly hit the mid to high 60s. 60% of our traffic is on a mobile device, and by that, specifically talking of a phone, as a tablet would be deemed, we'd be serving up a desktop experience on that device. And so, as a designer and as a creative, just seeing those numbers each week and month after month, mobile just continually gaining ground, I mean, you very quickly realize, wow, we really do need to be mobile first. And we became very conscious of designing and optimizing the experience for the user. In fact, one of the interesting things as we've been designing these experiences for mobile is that how the user interacted with the experience and the engagement that she was showing informed how to design future experiences. I'll give you an example. We obviously there's a phrase of old, is that below the fold or not, that design or that particular creative asset on a homepage or wherever. And I would always say, please, there is, the day of below the fold is over. There is no fold. And obviously, in designing for mobile, I was creating these much long format experiences for that finger scroll on a smartphone. In my early days of designing using this creator product, I was hesitant to go too long or too deep in the designs, and I was creating basically a second page that she'd get to the bottom of the first page and she'd click for the next page. And this creator product lets me view in real time user engagement and how many clicks or views a page of creative is getting. And the drop off from page 1 to page 2 was massive. I mean, I might have had in a week period or in a 5-day period, 25 to 30,000 views of a particular piece of creative on page 1, but then page 2, that might have dropped to 2,000 or 3,000. And I realized, hang on a sec, she's not even getting to the second page of product. So I took that second page of product and basically put it on. I went deeper in my pixel depth of the original design and put all the content on page 1. Now you can argue, well, maybe she wasn't getting to the bottom of your first page and she wasn't clicking through, but we're able to track the sales. And we, for example, we do a lot of dress collections, and we could see that dresses that were maybe last in an experience in a design were getting higher clicks and more buys than dresses that might have been 3, 4, or 5 in the experience. So that kind of information really is where the user or the customer is informing me on how I should design my experiences, particularly for mobile.
I'm interested, Paul, in your perspective as a designer, how you go about balancing, the need for this visually appealing and content-rich web page, whether it be on a desktop or mobile, versus page load time. Obviously, you see studies that if a page takes longer than 3 to 3.5 seconds to load, a good number of consumers are immediately leaving. So, can you talk about kind of the thought process you put in around design versus making sure the pages are still loading fast so that you're not losing traffic?
Yeah. I mean, we measure our rich content, like the pages we build with Zmags Creator, based on engagement, conversions, and average order value. And we're just seeing improvements on all of those metrics throughout our experience, for example, in the trends section of our site. To talk again to that mobile, back in spring, we launched a new collection of dresses. It was like it was a 36 dress collection trend lookbook story, and I did a single page long format design. Again, loaded quickly through Zmags Creator, and I pushed it live on a Thursday morning. And by Monday morning, 5 days of selling later, and this was my early days of using the product, we sold 6,800 dresses, over 6,800 dresses that weekend. At first, I thought it was a glitch, but it turned out our customers were and continue to be more inspired by the interactive and curated experiences that I deliver around collection launches, new trends, etc. And the beauty you talk about, taking a different angle on fast, I can push this content live to the site in under 5 minutes. So, and I'm also able to refresh it or update it. So, for example, maybe some dress styles were late to get to the fulfillment center or from our distribution center, and I have to put little coming soon messages on certain dresses. Prior to using Creator, if I wanted to update that piece of creative, I'd have to run a script and indexing and what have you. It would have to be done overnight, so I'd lose a day of selling. Today, I'm able to go in, remove that bubble, that coming soon message, and then push the new content live or the refreshed content live, and 4 minutes later, it's shoppable. And that kind of speed is immeasurable in terms of not just engagement, but also satisfying the customer's needs and also meeting our sales numbers.
Yeah, are you then able to manage kind of inventory and, based on what's selling, what's not, managing inventory, and then the creative you're pushing out almost in real time then?
Exactly. And I think the biggest thing is it's invisible to the customer in that she doesn't know that, it's shoppable, as opposed to her coming back each time and saying, it's still coming soon, or I can be as immediate in serving up what she wants, and obviously keeping her happy as a customer, and not having her go to some other site and buying there's so much instant gratification, right? With especially everybody's mobile, everybody's connected, and if you've got the product, you want to seize the moment.
Yeah, exactly. You've mentioned the Zmags tool that you've worked with. Can you talk about some of the business benefits that New York & Company has realized since it started working with Zmags?
Sure. Let me give you a little background. I'll try to be quick on this. Prior to Creator, we're on ATG platform, and we had recently done a redesign on the site using Endeca, which is primarily known for their search engine tool and capabilities, but they also have a pretty decent out-of-the-box sort of e-commerce experience that you can build on top of the ATG platform. When we were going through the design process, there were a lot of templates that out-of-the-box templates that I had to use, and it was a lot of cartridge and slot design and carousel, and it was, once we were underway using it, we realized it was very limiting and restricting. All my trend stories were the same height. The fashion imagery wasn't big enough. You couldn't see the details in the product, whether it was the print pattern or fabrication of a garment, and it was very frustrating. And then initially, when we brought Zmags in and took a look at their creative product, I thought it was primarily going to be for digitizing catalogs. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was a page turner. I could make stuff shoppable on the pages, and the more I got to use it, the more I realized, hang on a sec, I can create basically whatever I can imagine. And I don't have a team of coders. I have a small web design team, and it just brought great freedom to us that we knew that whatever we designed, we didn't have to worry about the code side of it and whether it was going to function right, because that's all built into these the powerful Creator tools. And the more we use it, the more we learn to do new things with it. And it's actually informed and impacted how I shoot when I'm at the studio, because if I know I can do animation inside Creator, or I'm able to bring in video. So it's really freed us up as a creative team to be as creative as we can be and not worry if the experience is going to work, or if there are going to be bugs with it. And that kind of peace of mind is very freeing for at my design team. I mean, it literally allows me in minutes to do what previously took days and sometimes weeks to develop, because I'd have to work with an overseas team, and I'd have to push to get my new templates or new page designs worked into the next build, and that experience was very frustrating and obviously drawn out. So, just a very liberating product, and I honestly don't know how I'd do my job today without it. I know there are other ways to achieve the end result, but given the team I have, I don't have, like I said, I have no development or code on my staff, and so it really has freed us up to be just the best that we can be as designers.
Yeah, and that flexibility and ease of use. Has that translated on the financial side, increased conversion rate because there's better experience that you're able to provide, increased revenue?
Yeah, absolutely it has. I mean, the more I mentioned the engagement with the digital catalog versus the category listing pages, but the more rich the content, the longer she's going to stay on the page and shop it. I mean, our customer takes us very literally. If we show her 12 or 14 head-to-toe looks, that's how she'll shop them. She'll want to buy exactly what the model is wearing. And I mean, sure, there are times when certain collections might be duds, or we got behind a particular color and she just doesn't like it. I mean, you can only throw that at her so many times when she's like, okay, no, I don't want it. But what I've been able to do is just, like I said, create these rich, scrollable, mobile optimized experiences that are highly shoppable, very shoppable. I mean, you never leave the experience. You're not being taken to a product detail page. You see the look, you shop the look. You can add all the items to your shopping bag and continue to scroll through the experience and see if there's something else you want to buy. So, yeah, conversion's been great, engagement's been great. My biggest challenge is just is making sure she's seeing it all the time, and so hence getting it in the email cadence on a regular basis, and obviously giving it some decent real estate on the homepage.
Exactly. My final question, Paul, is just kind of look ahead. What is New York & Company planning as it looks to continue to improve this online experience for its customers?
I mean, obviously, I'm going to speak from a creative viewpoint or angle, but I mean, the challenge, I work in a fast sort of fashion environment. Every 3 weeks, you've got a new collection, a new delivery of product that you've got to sort of seduce and spin and tell multiple fashion stories. And the more engaging and rich that content can be, then for me, like I said, I mentioned that that real-time user engagement. There's a tool within Creator that lets you see in real time how many clicks, how many views, where is she clicking, what is she doing. For a designer, that's incredibly rewarding, because prior to that, I mean, we'd push our content, it would go up on the site, and I'd rely on the merchant and say, well, is the stuff selling? How are those dresses doing? Or how is that wear to work suiting story doing? And now in Creator, I can see it for myself in real time. And I feel it's easy to be lazy with Creator because it's so easy to use. And I just want to keep pushing myself and my team to up the ante in terms of designing experiences and fashion stories, trends, lookbooks, whatever you want to call them, that really not just deliver the numbers and obviously sales, but are just inspiring.
Yeah, it's really interesting stuff, and really, speaks to the powerful tool that you're now working with, and how it's helped make your job not only easier, but be able to perform it better. So I want to take this opportunity to thank Paul Carroll of New York & Company for his time. Please check out our podcast channel page, mytotalretail.com/podcasts for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on iTunes and Stitcher, but make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. Lastly, please follow us on Twitter at MyTotalRetail or on Facebook at facebook.com/MyTotalRetail. Thanks, and I look forward to you joining us on the next episode of Total Retail Talks.